Welcome back to Running Shoes Guru. My name's Brandon and today I'm reviewing the Nike Alphafly Next Percent 2. The King is back. And this shoe has the nickname the King because it's Eliud Kipchoge's signature racing shoe, and it's also the most expensive super shoe you can buy. Now, even though it's one of the more popular super shoes on the market, sales have still been dwarfed by Nike's other elite racing shoe, the Vaporfly Next Percent. And the reason this is because the Alphafly is $25 more expensive than the Vaporfly, it's heavier than the Vaporfly, and it also has a really narrow midfoot, which runners with wide feet and flat arches struggle with because this digs into their arch. And that's the last thing you want for a marathon where you're spending hours in the shoe. Now, in previous versions, I found this arch sensation to be noticeable and tolerable, but it didn't bother me too much. This is the prototype colorway of the Alphafly Next Percent 2. And it's made to look like a pre-production version that gets wear tested. It's got these numbers on the side to decipher which version it is, and it's got minimal color except for on the tongue here and on the airbags. Now, when this version came out a month ago, it sold out within 10 minutes, and by some miracle I was lucky enough to add it to my basket and check out in time. The Alphafly Next Percent 2 is actually the third version of the Alphafly. The second version was the Next Nature version, which I tested last year. This shoe weighs 8 ounces now, or 227 grams, and that makes it heavier than the first version, but lighter than the second version. It's also got an 8mm drop now, compared to 4mm in the last two versions, and it still maintains its price tag of $275, which was the same price as the first version. My first run was an interval workout consisting of 500-meter intervals followed by faster 200-meter intervals. And the first thing that I noticed was that the ride sounded a lot quieter than previous versions. And this is because of this extra layer of ZoomX foam underneath the AirPods. Now, the ride also felt surprisingly firmer than the Next Nature version, and also a lot firmer than the original version. So I have a hunch that Nike has changed up the formulation of the ZoomX and made it firmer so that the ride becomes more stable. The workout felt great. I was able to reach top speeds of around 3 minutes 30 per kilometer with very little effort. Now, my second run wasn't as positive as the first run. It was a moderately paced run, so I was running a lot slower than my interval workout, and I was landing further back in the shoe. Now, throughout the run, there was this uncomfortable hot spot on the inside of my arch. And when I got home and took off the shoe, there was a huge blister on the inside of my arch. And this never happened with the previous two versions. I have low arches, but very narrow feet. The Alphafly Next Percent 2 doesn't feel as squishy or bouncy as the original version. The original version was a lot more versatile. It felt softer, so I could use it for slower paced runs. I feel like this ZoomX in the Alphafly 2 is wasted because ZoomX is supposed to feel really lively and energetic. But the only benefit from using ZoomX in this shoe is that it's light in weight. It has a firm ride, firmer than other super shoes like the Vaporfly, the Metaspeed Sky Plus, and the Adios Pro 3. And when I run in this shoe, I crave that ZoomX squish that I get in other Nike ZoomX shoes like the Streetfly, Vaporfly, and even the Invincible. When running in the Alphafly, there's an adjustment period where you learn how to run in the shoe effectively. This shoe encourages you to stomp the ground. In other words, you need to load up the shoe and drive your forefoot down hard into the ground. When I do this, I can feel the Zoom Air units in the forefoot respond and propel me forward. This doesn't happen when I'm running lightly on my feet like in other shoes. The narrow midfoot was a problem for me, and that's the Alphafly's biggest weakness. If Nike had just made the waist a couple millimeters wider, it would be suitable for much more foot types. I had to wear thick, blister-resistant socks on every run, but even with thick socks, I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing this shoe for a marathon because it's just too uncomfortable. I'm lucky that I have really narrow feet, but if you have wide feet or flat arches, I'd stay far away from the Alphafly 2. The outsole of the Alphafly 2 is an improvement over previous versions. There's now more rubber, so it makes it more durable. These rubber strips extend further forward into the midfoot, and now there's less exposed rubber in this midfoot area. The rubber is also now a more flatter profile, so wear is spread more evenly. I expect durability of the Alphafly 2 to be higher than the average super shoe because there's very little midsole foam that actually comes in contact with the ground during transitions. Most of the wear that I've seen is on the lip of this decoupled groove. Atomknit 2 makes up the upper of the Alphafly 2, and in my opinion, it's of the same breathability as version 1. It's still a booty construction, and I'm not a big fan of booty constructions because it doesn't provide a great foot lockdown. You can't use a runner's knot, so I noticed that during fast workouts when I was sprinting, my heel was loose. Another reason for the loose heel is that on the inside of the heel counter, this padding isn't as thick and plump as on the previous versions. So there's more space between my heel and the back of the shoe, and this caused the loose heel problem. The Alphafly 2 has a narrower, snugger fit than the last two versions, specifically in the midfoot and in the forefoot. It fits me true to size, but I've got really narrow, low volume feet. So I would definitely recommend going up a half size if you're in between sizes or you have high volume feet. The Alphafly Next % 2, just like the Nike Infinity Run 3, is a neutral shoe with a very prominent arch sensation. If you don't have narrow feet or high arches, I wouldn't recommend this shoe to you because it's just too uncomfortable on long runs, and that's what this shoe was designed for. This shoe just didn't work for me because I never got used to this poking arch sensation, and I couldn't wait to take it off after every run. Given the choice between the original version and this new version, I'd choose the original version because it has a softer, more lively ride and a less prominent arch sensation. The things that I like about this new version are that it's more stable, it's got a quieter ride, and it's more durable. So in my opinion, the Alphafly Next % 2 is not a good update. Nike only needed to change one thing, and that one thing was to make the midfoot wider, which they failed to do. At $275 US, it's still the most expensive super shoe you can buy, so I definitely wouldn't be buying it again. There are other much cheaper super shoes which you can buy, which are softer, more lively, and much more fun to run in. If you've also run in the Alphafly and you find it uncomfortable, please let me know down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching my review, and please remember to like the video and subscribe to Running Shoes Guru.